Welcome to the General's Gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Welcome back to Company of Heroes 2.
The regular kind. There's no add-ons, there's no tournaments, there's no mods. Just Company of Heroes 2.
The ladder, exactly. It's been a while since we've casted ladder. Between the Warpaint Championship, between some games on my GG Coh mod, it has really been a while. And actually, as a result, that's why we chose to cast this game. Road to Kharkov is certainly not the world's best map, and it certainly does have its flaws, but we haven't casted it in so long because it wasn't in the Warpaint Championship map pool, so it's going to be nice to have a bit of variety.
Exactly, yeah, it has been ages since we've done Road to Kharkov. I kind of forgot it was a map that exists, so that's cool. Down to get some casting done on it, but I think it's probably something that runs into vetoes a lot. Even when we're looking through ladder games, it's pretty rare that you actually see a game on Road to Kharkov. It tends to be pretty veto heavy.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I think you could say that it's a pretty good map for Maxim spamming, so Axis would veto this more. I don't think Allies would really want to veto it. Double engineers for Lyconious going for the penals has the tier 1. So penals are very, very strong in this patch. And we have a lot of guard bulletins as well here, 3 of them, as many as you can get. So I do expect to see guards. We have guard motor as well as the mechanized support. Actually, this wouldn't be a bad map for an ISU.
It's not actually bad, Machine, you're right. We have seen ISUs previously, and if used correctly, they can be pretty fantastic. Obviously, a lot of flanking routes and ways to get around those big heavies, but ISUs can be useful, and it's just one of those maps where the ISU doesn't have to worry so much about elevation countering its main gun. It's really not too bad. It's an overall flat map.
Yeah, exactly. The flatness, I mean, there's not perfect, but not too bad. But also, I just think because it's so long, and the fact that there are flanking routes, as you say, but you can mine them pretty easily, especially when you have guards and whatnot for the button. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that. It has the marked target, which is a very, very good ability to have. Maybe the heavy mortar is going to be a bit of a selling point here for the guard motor, especially since he's the north side and he has this hedge behind. It does give him a really good safety net to leave his mortars behind.
Heavy mortars certainly have always been a staple on Road to Kharkov. Not only, as you said, Machine, the safe points where you can leave them at, it's just that the heavy mortar will cover the entire width of the map pretty easily, and then it's just kind of how far do you want to move it forward. The benefit of having a thin map here, so kind of a horizontal rotation when it comes to those mortars really isn't necessary. It's more just moving it up and down the map depending on where your front line is.
The range would be so good that from here you could definitely get to this point. Not sure about any further than that, but that's really as far as you need to go without having to risk it. So we have a few squads of penals now. We've got 3 of them already. We're gonna have the supply truck here, the SWS truck, so maybe he'll go for the Panzer II. Again, it's always nice against the penals and the tier 1 in general, but the guards are definitely a threat. Yeah, it does have the Kubel as well, so he has that for capping. I think it's a really good map for it. A lot of territory points quite far away, especially if you're fighting on the left side. Okay, this is actually a little bit risky though.
Certainly is, Machine. There are 9 models of penals here, going to be hunting down this Kubel wagon. Going the long retreat here could work out. So far, safe, no, out of control. Right. That was unlucky. I'm pretty sure like all 3 shots from the front penal squad penetrated there. It was actually a lot of damage in a short space of time.
Yeah, it was unlucky, but it was also just a little bit silly. He definitely knew the penals were there. They were fighting the Volks. They were decapping the cutoff. He could have easily retreated down the south, but instead he went through the middle. So that was a shame. I was just about to say that the Kubel would be really good on this map because generally a lot of the fighting kind of happens in this area.
Yeah.
And then so the Kubel can flank around the side, decap the munitions point, decap the fuel point, which are normally quite hard to access. And then you can just constantly limit your opponent's income, especially the cutoff as well would go down very, very fast. So losing that Kubel, a bit of a blow already, only having 4 squads and going for the pretty quick... the mechanized truck, in fact. So, and then things with OKW is their teching is a bit expensive, so in terms of manpower. So it does kind of put you behind a little bit, especially if you then go for the medics and such early on. So the early game can be a little bit tricky. Well, the post the 3, 4, 5, 6 minute mark. I don't want to say the early game because you have the Stern Pioneer squad at the start, which gives you really strong initial couple of minutes, and then especially if your opponent is actually building a tier building. But it's kind of hard to label, right? Because it's not really mid-game. I consider mid-game when you have vehicles.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like the pre-mid-game.
The pre-mid-early teching game. We're going to come up with a new term for it, Machine.
Yeah.
We're yet to find one yet, but be assured we are working on it. So this is a smart push out from Apathyprime, especially when you have a low amount of territory. You need to take the cutoff back. Using the Blobberino button can certainly work, especially when he knows Lyconious has gone for that tier 1. So I mean, it's penals and combat engineers. It's not anti-blob. There is no anti-blob there. There's no mortar, there's no MG. There's nothing to prevent Apathyprime from pushing out in this manner and recapturing this territory.
Yeah, the garrisons will be a bit of an
issue, yeah.
Bit of a defensive location for him to hold, but he should have the those incendiary grenades just once he has the munitions for it. Guard rifle is locked in here, getting a squad of guards straight away. It's going to be nice because the Panzer II not too far off. It hasn't been revealed yet, but his squads are pretty low, which can be a bit of a tell indirectly. Having the low squads can be a little bit dangerous against the flamers, as they do a lot more damage the lower the squads are.
Certainly I'm loving this garrison control coming out here from Lyconious. Full realization that Volts really have no way to clear. Though, that being said, the incendiary grenades, of course, active and available now. So the Volts do have that option to start forcing these squads out of garrisons.
Whenever I think of Lyconious, I'm always reminded of Lyconious, a good friend of ours, a fellow shoutcaster from Australia. Shout out to him. But
cool dude.
Yeah, the Onius is reminiscent of that. And actually, he's getting married soon.
There you go. Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah. But anyway, the Panzer II is going to be arriving now. We have one squad of guards, so it won't quite be enough here against the Panzer II. Unless it's in a garrison, that's where the Panzer II can struggle against those guards. Behind the heavy cover, you can just kind of drive up to them and push them around if they're on their own.
I have 2 fingers crossed, Machine. Would you like to know why I have 2 fingers crossed?
Okay, sure.
I'm hoping there were medics, but there aren't medics, and Lyconious is so low on manpower. Yeah, this is the most awkward spot to be in, allies in particular, because your medics are expensive, and you have to reinforce as well. So you've got to upgrade the medics, you've got to reinforce the squads, and that's going to be a lack of map pressure here for Lyconious until he can get the reinforcing and the medic upgrade down. I'd say 1 too many squads here potentially. Maybe should have gone for the medics first.
Yeah, but it is kind of a hard spot because at the same time he also needs more guards, or especially the Su-76 or the T-7. He needs something to deal with this Panzer II, something more than the 1 squad of guards. At the moment, though, I mean, this is again a good defensive spot. Doesn't really matter too much though because the Stern Pioneers are nearby. So I like how he had the Stern Pioneers there because then even if the Panzer II gets chunked down a little bit low, it doesn't actually matter too much. It maybe would have been better for him to just ignore the guards entirely and just go for the right side, trying maybe even go for the cutoff, really apply the pressure while he has this opportunity. Apathyprime building a Kubel.
Okay, interesting. I mean, as you said, Machine, good map for a Kubel. This isn't the worst idea, provided Apathyprime plays smart with the Kubel, really does avoid the guards. This certainly is doable. I like it because the P2 is going to draw guards. It's a guard bait. It's going to say, hey man, bring your AT over to this side of the map. So assuming that Apathyprime can use the P2, start engaging penals, force the guards to one side of the map, there really isn't a proper response for the Kubel wagon, which does give Apathyprime more capping pressure and the ability to group up the rest of his forces. It might work. It's
a good point, as you say. Say if all the guards are drawn here and then he just caps the right side very quickly. But with the T-70 on the field, which he had to really expect by now, or the Su-76 as an alternative, that Kubel will get hunted down pretty easily. The 10-minute mark is generally when you see the Kubels go down, even with good unit preservation in the early game. That being said, right now I think that these garrisons are definitely a problem, so Apathyprime's going to have to start using the grenades to flush them out. Maybe worth going for the infantry support gun and the heavy mortar.
Ooh. Ouch.
Yeah, a fair bit of damage there. So he only has 1 squad of guards. The T-70 should be enough as well. Again, the T-70 has the better penetration over the Panzer II. And it will probably force Apathyprime into... Oh, it has a Raketen already.
Yeah, it has a Raketen. Yeah, ended up cancelling the coup before the Raketen. Obviously,
okay.
Thinking along the same lines as you, Machine, the T-70 going to be a threat out on the field very shortly. Having the Raketen to support the Panzer II, very important, and that's what we're going to see here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Actually, could go down here. The vision will be provided by the Panzer II. And there it gets the kill. Instantly, that T-70 not lasting for very long.
Not at all, Machine. That was beautifully played by Apathyprime. The perfect bait set up there. The P2 getting enough damage on the T-70 to ensure the 2-shot kill coming out from that Raketen. Beautifully played.
Could you imagine if he didn't cancel the Cooper wagon? How much worse would this game be right now?
Oh, it would have been awful. It could have been over, Machine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would not have gone well at all.
You can't bait with a... Well, you can bait with a Kubel, but you can't bait the T-70 with the Panzer II and expect the Kubel to have any follow-up.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to be like, run up to it and capture a point?
Yeah, you just see the P2 going, the Kubel set up in the background and just, don't worry, man, I got this. I'll take care of it. Suppressing fire!
So it will be the Su-76. That's nice because it has a lot of range, so you can engage the Panzer II whilst having the range advantage to avoid the Raketen. We do have the battle group now here for Apathyprime, which is really good because his Volks were getting a little bit low and all these penals have the flamers and he hasn't left his base yet. Again, because he needed to get the anti-tank and his squad's a little bit low, so he would get taken down pretty quick. So he's kind of in this awkward middle ground where, as you said, maybe one and too many squads. 3 penals was a lot. 2 engineers.
It was just the heavy mortar that kind of threw him over the edge. It's just,
I suppose.
you hit that 2 CPs and you want a heavy mortar, you want guards, and you have the manpower for it. And you're just like, okay, I'll just click both squads out. And then it's I have no manpower, I needed to reinforce. So yeah, I'd say it was probably the choice between the heavy mortar and the guards. I would have liked to see a delay on the heavy mortar in favor of going medics, getting more reinforcing, and then just going for a later heavy mortar. But the heavy mortar has had pressure so far, and the certainly hasn't need to be reinforced yet, so it's been working out, and Lyconious has maintained the majority of his map control.
The heavy mortar's sort of like a sniper that it's always a long-term investment because of how much it scatters. It's rare that it'll have an impact early on. Demo on the cutoff here probably won't get the wipe there. He's pretty spread out, but he's definitely runs the risk of retreating through the 3 squads. Panzer II's nearby here, and the heavy mortar takes that Raketen very low.
One penal's going to be forced off here.
That mine could have actually finished off the squad there. I think it was revealed by the Sternpire, so it wouldn't have detonated even if they hit it. Su-76 opening up, but nice hold here by Apathyprime.
Yeah, really beautiful. Actually keeps the P2 around as well. Knows he can take another Su-76 shot. It's not a big deal. And we'll stick around long enough to force the guard squad off the map, which is really important. He will have to back away soon, though.
I think he can still take 1 more shot. It does 120 damage, so it's a bit less than a Zis gun. And this is going to be nice if he can get a couple of shots off here. Sternpire is nearby. So I really like how Apathyprime, how he constantly has his Sternpires nearby, his Panzer II. It's a good play to do, is you preemptively have the medics, the repairers nearby.
And of course the sweeper as well. So.
Yeah, and exactly.
First squad of Jaegers going to be popped out here for Apathyprime as well. A map with... Oh, ouch!
What?
Oh! It hurts my sensibilities, Machine. It hurts them. That was some brutal flamer damage coming out there from Lyconious.
Wow, Engineer Squad went down, wiped by Apathyprime. Lyconious is really slipping up here. He's making a bit of mistakes, losing the Engineers. Not a big deal, but it's certainly not going to help him by any means. He actually has enough resources for a T-70. Might be worth going for that one. That being said, because he has the 85s, maybe he'll just go for a pretty quick tier 4, but the cutoff has delayed the fill a little bit, so overall, Apathyprime is playing this game exceptionally well.
Certainly is, Machine, yeah. It certainly could be worth going for another T-70 here. I suppose it just depends on how confident Lyconious is with his split micro. Really does want to play with the Su-76, kind of pressuring the Panzer II, while the T-70 makes plays on the other side of the map, and you just got to be careful that you don't lose it to Raketen, which is just incredibly easy. T-70, while being an incredible pressure unit, really does lack the health required to survive against those Raketenwerfers for very long.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned it, but Apathyprime locked in the Scavenger a while ago. So he's going to have the Ostwind as an option, which is pretty much the go-to commander. I believe the pick rate of Scavenge was about 80% in the Warpaint Championship.
Right.
Whenever you would go OKW, you just go this commander, and it gives you so much. It gives you good infantry, gives you the really OP grenades, gives you the thorough salvage. The Ostwind is really important because it allows you to go for a few things. You know, you can go for a tier 2, tier 1 and still have the call-in, or even just on a general game, if you just go battle group, but you still are struggling in the fuel, to go for the Panzer headquarters, which we haven't seen this game, and which is why Apathyprime has the Panzer headquarters, but generally you would expect to see OKW kind of struggle against the T-70, against the Stuart, against just the mid-game momentum that Soviets and US in particular have. So having that call in Ostwind really does help. But yeah, with the Panzer headquarters, he's definitely delayed his Ostwind here, so I wonder if he'll even bother going for that, since there is the Su-76, there is the guards. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll go straight for a Panther.
Certainly, if the second Su-76 is revealed machine, I would very much doubt we see Apathyprime going for an Ostwind. He's not really in a position that he needs to go for one. Isn't suffering majorly in terms of any light vehicle pressure or heavy infantry pressure that he can't deal with. He's currently dealing with it quite well at the moment. So having seen the second Su-76, personally, I would definitely not recommend going at Ostwind here.
Yeah, in that sense, it's actually kind of clever from Lyconious, because you pretty much got to expect your opponent to go for the Ostwind. You know, they're so meta at the moment, but even just because he's seen the Scavenge, the Jaegers, he's seen the infiltration grenades, so the Ostwind is a pretty safe assumption, and then having the double Su-76 is a really good counter to that. And even without that, the barrage ability is quite nice, just barraging things away, but maybe he shouldn't have built it preemptively, because perhaps Apathyprime would have gone for the Ostwind if not for the reveal, which he has barrage, the other one he's hit it as well, so it's definitely been revealed now. We see Apathyprime going for a squad of the Obersoldaten. That's going to be nice against the penals and the guards. Just has to be careful of the heavy mortar wiping them.
Yeah, the Obers are a nice choice machine. If your opponent has AT Wago tanks, no real need to. The Obersoldaten will be able to duel quite well with these guard squads. Something the Volks are going to start struggling with only the STGs. Guards at range with those DPs, once they are upgraded, can be quite dangerous.
I wonder if it would have been worth Lyconious going for a sniper. I feel like he would benefit from that a fair bit. It's a little bit risky, of course, with the Panzer II and with the Jaegers in particular, and the threat of spawning Jaegers, so I suppose maybe that's why he's deterred. But in the early game, the sniper would be really good on this map. It's very open, it's very wide, and he's not really trading well in these fights, which is actually impressive on Apathy's part, but the sniper would give him, I feel like, a pretty big edge in these fights.
Apathyprime with a really nice munitions float here as well, machine, and having already invested the majority of the munitions. Yeah, I mean, the Overs are getting upgraded now, but still with a 350 munitions float, with all his Volks upgraded as well, so it's a nice munition sink thus far, and we'll have access to a lot of artillery should he choose to use it. And Road to Kharkov certainly is the map where you're going to be able to make use of the 105.
Yeah, I feel like it's actually one of the better artilleries as well for OKW, so another reason why Scavenge is a really good commander. And perhaps we should see some more shoe mines, but the Sturmpein is that they have been planning shoe mines a little bit, but also just because the Panzer II has been very aggressive, so they have been constantly repairing. So I feel like Apathyprime is floating up a lot of munitions, but there isn't really much he can actually spend it on, short of going for a second squad of Sturm Pioneers. He has been getting those upgrades, he has been throwing grenades, so normally when you see that much munitions, there's a reason why, but I think it's just been pretty good map control, really, for Apathyprime. And the fact that those grenades are so cheap anyway, the infiltration tactics, if he was throwing the incendiary grenades instead, that would kind of burn through his float more than we've seen. Definitely.
See, Lyconious is going for a T-70 here, which is interesting. I don't know, I guess I would have thought I'd seen it before the Su-76s come out, but we do see a T70. Maybe it's a response to seeing those obers and a more infantry-focused pop cap here from Apathyprime that Lyconious just thinks he needs a bit of help in these long-range infantry battles over the VPs. Looking towards our VPs, 407 for our man Apathyprime, 276 for Lyconious.
The Volks, will they go down? No, they will survive this one. Actually, I really like that T70 choice. Well, what do we have here? The T70 hit a minor. Oh no, it was actually just a Panzerfaust. So pretty far away though. He should be safe, especially with the crew repair. Not much threat of that going down, and a really big push here by Lyconious. It's going to be forcing Apathyprime completely off the map. That puts him in a really good spot now. But back to the T70, because Lyconious, he doesn't have the fuel to go for his tech up. He's so far off getting a T34. Getting a caddy even as well, and given the VP situation, he can't really afford to sit around all day. What? That Panzer II just completely murdering those penals. What? Were they on negative cover there?
They must have been, yeah. The last two models must have slipped their way onto negative cover, because that was 3 models going down in incredibly short space of time. That was nonsense.
It was also the Veterancy 2 popping, so extra damage there, but like that was insane damage, and that's actually going to be really bad news for Lyconious now, because he's still got 4 squads, but one is a fresh squad of guards, and the unit preservation has been on point here for Apathyprime. He's got 3 Volks, the Obers, the Jaegers, so normally, you know, you see Soviets do so well in the infantry battles just because of how strong penals and guards are, but in this game, I don't think so, and the manpower bleed has been significant with the 20 kills on this Panzer II. The Panzer IV as well even can do a fair bit of damage there if it gets a nice lucky shot off. And
Korean level micro setup here for Lyconious. Have you ever tried to micro 3 Su-76s in a T-70 machine? Is that something you've done, or...?
Not specifically. I have tried, yeah, multiple vehicles in particular, but it's a lot of vehicles here. I like how he evac out of the house, because that was getting taken very low by the Panzer IV. Yeah, it is going to be tricky, especially because the Su-76, because they're pretty fragile and they have a turret. Well, they don't have a turret, rather. So you have to be very careful with your positioning. We have the tank destroyer Katusha.
Maybe that's the plan.
Yeah, it's
you
basically...
build 3, you get a Katusha.
It's essentially the hallucination from the sentries in StarCraft. It's like, look, I have a caddy, dive my caddy with a Panzer IV. Just kidding, it's Su-76. And the Panzer IV is going to have a hard time here against triple Su-76 as the 2 squads of the guards for the button, and of course the marked target. So a lot of float of munitions, which is very nice to have as guard motor. It's a very munitions heavy commander, and the late game button marked vehicles, they can certainly make a difference.
Certainly agree with that, Machine. Hopefully we see another squad of NGs coming out here from Lyconious. With that many vehicles in the field, two of these Su-76s have been low for a long period of time. NGs really do have to be a bit more active in terms of their repairs, so we need another squad out on the field from him. That certainly should be Lyconious' next choice in order to fill out his pop cap before he starts heading towards any tech up.
He does have the crew repair, so
yeah.
Maybe not.
It's just such a munitions heavy commander though as well when you're talking about like mark target and button, assuming you want to take tanks out. It's just, you tend to need a big munitions float.
Yeah. 30 munitions, so it's not a lot, but it certainly does add up when you have 4 vehicles. Using the sight here with the T70, getting the range for the Su-76 is nice. Only 1 Raketten, but it's all he really needs, and almost a Vet 2 as well, which certainly helps. Apathyprime has a few options here, but with the triple truck, he's probably going to go for the King Tiger, which is actually quite nice. Even against the Su-76s, the penetration isn't really good enough to cut it against the King Tiger.
Only 200 points remain. Double your efforts.
He's actually smoking off.
Yeah, smoke coming in. Obviously for the cap coming in.
So triple cap at the moment though.
Gonna have to get at least one of them decapped here, Machine. Down to 188 VPs is Lyconious. Su-76s have been repaired up just on the back of 1 combat engineer squad, so nice to see them being active, and it was actually an additional squad of guards added out to him by Lyconious.
I think he blew up a mine. Maybe a shoe mine there by Apathy. Yeah, so it's going to be another Panzer IV, wow. Okay.
Whoa.
I don't know about that. I mean, there's what, 3 guards, 3 tank destroyers?
Yeah, but no. But for all Lyconious knows, there's like there's an Su-76 and a Katusha on the field. So really, he's got no idea, and this is the perfect build.
Wow, this is a pretty sizable army here. Panzer IV taking a fair bit of damage. Volk's going to be within range and throwing all their grenades. The T-70 has a fair bit of damage on the side. Could be a dead Volk squad. No, he retargets.
P4s are really going to struggle to contribute to these engagements with the Su-76 set up in a good position, but Apathyprime throws down the 105, which is very well used here.
I was just following the derp camera of that Su-76. Actually, really nice spot here. Guards going forward to try and avoid that. And once again, another squad of Volks barely survive. This is potentially on the retreat path. So that was a really well-placed artillery. A lot of manpower, I believe, for Lyconious. All his guard squads are down at 2 models.
Yeah, hell of a lot. It was a very nicely placed artillery. You don't tend to... You see this at pro levels, you don't tend to see players use the artillery directly on a target unless they're support weapons. When it comes to these infantry engagements, you know your opponent's going to dodge, so you put it slightly behind them, and it forced Lyconious to take a bad engagement. The guards had to pull forward into the Jaegers and kind of fight at medium range, or they had to try and move to the side and retreat, and either way they're not firing or they're not taking a good engagement. So very nicely placed artillery by Apathyprime.
Yeah, double Panzer IV, it will give a lot of diving potential as well. The positioning of the Su-76, it needs to be very, very delicate, because otherwise the P4s, they can circle them and get them down pretty quickly, again, unless we have the guards in position. So this is a micro-intensive composition. We actually have the marked vehicle being placed down on the Panzer IV, but it will back away here. And another Raketten. So I feel like Apathyprime, he does have the better composition.
Certainly looks that way, Machine, but it's going to be out what kind of work these Su-76s can get done, what vision they can find. There's a bit of damage down to the Panzer II.
Yeah, especially one great thing about Jaegers, and the same can be said for the Panzer Fusiliers, is they actually do give a lot of sight. So that allows the Rakettens to extend their sight range. So it can be even harder to use those tank destroyers.
I see the active use of smoke over the central victory point to try and find Cap's Machine. However, there is a Panzer IV hiding in there. I still have to be careful.
As we turn our volume down.
Yeah. Which we can do independently. It's
nice, isn't
it? It is really nice, yeah. Previously, when it came to our headsets, we had to turn our volume down as a pair, as a duo, which is as good as it was for our teamwork building. It meant we're either getting deaf or I can't hear anything. So yeah.
One of the advantages of having a sound card, like external sound card that we use, is that we can change the volume that we hear. It doesn't actually affect the recording. Whereas, like, if I was to change the volume in-game, obviously that would have to then edit the sound level. So it's a nice on-the-fly option. But, once again, the caddy barrage coming through. If he gets 4 of them, then it'll be like, Apathyprime will be like, why does my opponent have a land mattress? He's playing Soviets. What is this?
It's just start seeing him call hacks and /remake in the chat. So, OP. Crazy plays.
Max range button, but of course the max range button doesn't work too well because you just get out of that range. But we see this is where the SUs are doing incredibly well for themselves. There's just so much zoning potential, and all of these tanks are getting pretty low here. He has to back away, get behind a shot block, and get repaired even. He will have the mechanics though from the mechanized regiment, so that will certainly help. Let's see if this Raketten goes down.
Certainly could. Going to be retreating though. And we have the pyramid of veterans here in the Su-76s. 3 to 2 to 1. Looking good.
Are they in order? They are in order!
The dream.
Oh.
Okay. I guess we know what the thumbnail is going to be, don't we, Machine?
The Illuminati triangle of veterancy.
Yeah.
He needs to get another one though, so we can have like all 4 of them, with one with Vet Zero, of course. But yeah, this is actually a very important push, especially when you have triple SUs. You can take this Panzer headquarters down incredibly fast, especially if you're using the sight range, the recon mode on the T-70 to give you that vision. So Apathyprime, maybe it would have been worth going for a Jagdpanzer IV, because the Jagdpanzer can trade very well with the with the SU, similar to a Stug, and just take them down from afar pretty easily. Apathyprime is pretty much pop capped now. He has room for one more unit, and that unit can't be a tank by the looks of it. Yeah, no, it can't be a tank, so probably will just be upkeeping all his squads, and then the moment he can afford the King Tiger, he'll just go for that, I assume. There's actually a demo on the VP as well, so Apathyprime has to be very careful, because the thing keeping him in the game has been his infantry preservation, amongst other things. I think actually he lost a squad of guards, sorry, Volks, so there's only 2 left.
Yeah, did lose a squad of Volks there, Machine. Probably during that engagement in the middle against the T-70. Potentially lose another one here as well! Veteran C5, Vol squad goes down, Machine.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a misplay there. He took 3 volleys of the flame before retreating. And so now we see a very, very easy game, and well, it's looking much better, a much more balanced game, I was trying to say here, for Lyconious. And I would say now he has a much better composition with Apathyprime losing 2 of his vetted squads. There's going to be 3 guards, there's 2 penals, there's a lot of tank destroyers, a lot of ATs, so Lyconious now looking in a really good spot, and he can replenish those tanks with the T-34-85s. Maybe even, you know, go for an SU-85, given that he now has the infantry advantage.
We don't even see the tech structure though, Machine, which is weird. Lyconious certainly can't afford it and doesn't really need a fuel or manpower float at this stage. So certainly should give himself that teching option. I would like to see that. SU-76 Illuminati Triangle has set up against these P4s now though, looking pretty good. What I was going to say is that I would like to see another squad of NGs still.
Whoa,
Wow,
where's the land mattress?
Minimum range land mattress. Very dangerous. That's how you wipe support weapons.
Tank destroyers working as intended.
Count how many munitions did Lyconious blow there for 3 barrages, Machine?
0. I mean, the barrage is pretty bad though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
minimum range, and there was 3 of them. And that's gonna do it.
That certainly will work, Machine.
Of all the things,
the new allied artillery option.
Of all the things to whine about Soviets being OP, I think SU-76 barrage is on a low priority.
That's the last thing.
You can just recrew that one. Actually, he didn't go for the destroy. Maybe worth trying to destroy the MG with the SU's auto attacks.
Yeah, so as I was saying, to kind of polish out the population cap, just one squad of conscripts, just for the AT grenade would be cool, and another squad of NGs, obviously, just in case for repairs, but yeah.
I don't think he's pop capped.
Big investment.
Because he has to go for 25 fuel, he has to go, like, the AT grenade manpower cost. Why not just go another squad of guards? Because then you get more buttons.
Sure.
In kind of the late game...
It's just like a munitions thing though, like relative to how much like another squad, like you have to get the DPs and then like the button cost as well. Like overall the munitions cost is going to be huge, and that's an issue for Lyconious. As I said, a very munitions heavy commander earlier with the button and the marked target. You're investing a lot.
Actually, one great thing about building a single squad of conscripts is then you can just build sandbags for your guards.
Yeah.
And then you have guards on a VP with heavy cover, and it's really hard to break through.
There are a lot of advantages to just having the one squad, so that could be cool. But hey, we'll see. We'll see how we go. Heavy mortar. Look, I mean, as you said, Machine, long-term investment has been doing work. Veteran C3 already probably hasn't moved, as far as I'm aware. Has just been sitting, shelling away. 11 kills so far, but certainly a lot of... Currently on fire, but...
Currently on fire, that's fine.
That's no worries, that's
no
cool.
problems here.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you're right. They're looking a little bit chubby, aren't they? Definitely need to do a bit more cardio, the mortar crew there. But we do see the Obers have been doing pretty well. They're 14 kills. They do get pretty crazy vet bonus, especially at Vet 2. The Vet 2 Ober bonus is like one of the most OP bonuses in the game as far as veterans. Okay, this could be dead SUs. Double Raket, and actually the Panzer IV as well to firing. Raketten? Oh, there we go. Finally gets the wipe there on that. That was actually the Vet 2 one. Panzer IV is getting low, but plenty of health left, and this could be dead Obers.
Could be if we get a nice bait here, Machine. Not that we've seen yet. T-70 also taking a lot of damage. Going to take another P4 shot. I think one of them missed there. T-70 backing away in sight mode for the moment. The Rakettens aren't in a good position. They're both going to be forced away by the penals and the guards in conjunction with each other. Both the Su-76s are alive and shelling.
Oh, there we go. Mark Target takes it down with only 2 shots. The Panzer II as well could be next.
Looks like it's backing away just in time. Currently outside of SC-76 range. I'm not sure that they're going to want to chase this one, but I think the land mattress is back up in firing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually gets the wipe onto the Raketin there, Machine.
Well, it's only 2, so it's the caddy.
Katusha, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot we saw one going down. So.
Getting out of the range of the demo, I think, but barely. Now, Lyconious is going to be replenishing his armor with a T-34-85, a nice upgrade. But the pop cap now getting much lower of Apathyprime, down at 49, losing a lot of squads here. Whoa, another squad went down. What was that? The Obers went down to the demo.
Oh, you did call it, Machine.
So bull pudding. Yeah, it is pretty bull pudding. But we actually have the King Tiger now as an option. I believe it's 280 fuel, so just a little bit more. It's actually cut off as well, so that he has to get that back. But yeah, he's in a tricky spot because he has no squads left. And I mean, the King Tiger's great, but he has 2 Vet 3 SUs, the Mark Target, the 85s, the buttons, so...
And 2 squads of guards ready to go with DPs already, so...
You sure it's not 3?
Sorry, well, I mean, icons at the top, I generally go by that.
No, but the icons, they default to the PTRS.
Right, okay, yeah, I forgot about that.
The reason why it just shows DPs is if, like, they died and they drop one,
Right, they drop one of them, yeah.
Sometimes
it's very confusing.
Yeah, they change the icons, but I'm pretty sure it stays at PTRS.
Right, so...
Because they all have
I guess we can zoom down, yeah.
They've all got
DPs.
You just hover over the icon and it says... already upgraded with DPs, and all 3 of them do say that.
So 3 squads with DPs currently. Yeah, I would like a more consistent use of icons, I think, that kind of gives you a better idea of what the squads are using in the top, so... Panzer II is still alive as well, that's Regency 4.
For how much longer, though? The Panzer IV could actually one-shot that T-70 there. He should repair that, even just partially, to get it over that one-shot threshold. But it is a Veteran C4 Panzer II, and that's going to give it even more killing power.
So we're going to come down to this KT. 3 fuel off currently for Apathyprime. Certainly is heading that way. The manpower float is already there. Big munitions float still as well. So as we head towards the closing minutes of this game, currently 113 VPs for Apathyprime, 151 for Lyconious. The artillery can buy you a lot of time if Apathyprime can find some VP caps.
Yeah, the VP situation actually now in the favor of Lyconious, 100 to the 150. But we have the King Tiger on the field now, but there's still just so much infantry as a massive meat shield for this armor column. Raketin's a little bit caught out of position, can't retreat through all these squads, but there is the 105 howitzer. The T-34, a little bit out of position here, I suppose, but let's see how much damage the arty barrage gets done. Nothing. Not
so much, no.
It does.
It forced a mass retreat.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity for Apathyprime to find some more map control and capture back these VPs.
Even capture the Raketin as well. Having that one's going to certainly help. You want to have a Raketin behind the King Tiger so you can't circle with the 85 or whatever it is you have trying to flank it. He does have the Panzer IV, I suppose, for that. Isn't actually fully repaired though, so definitely needs to do so. King Tiger's going to be opening up on the infantry squads. There's going to be 2 Raketins now, so the AT is actually pretty decent. It's just a lack of infantry squads. He's going to be spawning out some Jaegers to try and get his VPs back.
KT forces off the 1 squad of combat engineers as well. And now we're at the stage where the SU-76s can actually take poke as well. Previously they were being used at max range, but the KT is going to have more of an opportunity to fire back, and that means more need of repairs we should find here for Lyconious, unless he plans on going all in.
Pretty short cooldown on the howitzer barrage. He can actually use it again, and he certainly has the munitions for it. And I wonder if it's worth Lyconious going for the flanks, because the 2 Raketins are going to be pretty deadly here, especially if the 85 gets caught. Very important, because there's only 1 squad of NGs, so the repairs aren't going to be the world's fastest thing, and this could be a very powerful shot when your squads are clumped up against a King Tiger. It's not a good combination.
The SU-76s are busy pretending to be Katyushas, so this KT pretty much has free reign. and taking out these infantry squads. The Rockett's going to be forced off, could go down here. It's actually going to be the marked target on the caddy here as well, on the KT.
The rear armor was exposed there for a moment. Once again, the howitzer barrage is going to be forcing away the infantry squads. And triple cap is still on here, so Lyconious has to act fast. We have another T-34-85 being built for Lyconious.
I mean, that's another time buyer 105 here, and Apathyprime has enough munitions for at least one more, probably two more of these time buying 105 barrages, and currently on a triple cap as well.
Haha! Luke's now suppresses infantry.
Make it stop, machine. Make it stop.
It's cloaked as well. This is going to be really important for holding VPs.
Yeah.
The Rocket actually hits a mine there, so he has to back away. The T-70 is still in recon mode, so it is giving Lyconious a lot of vision, which allows him to pick these engagements well, but it doesn't reveal to Rocketans. That's kind of his problem, is his tanks have been constantly getting poked down by these Rocketans, and he hasn't had the repairing for it. He's not using the crew repair either, which I think he should definitely use.
Yeah, this is going to come down to one more engagement. As long as Lyconious has enough loaded up for a marked target and a button, he should just blow through the rest of the munitions now. The next engagement will decide the fate of this game. 86 VPs for Apathyprime compared to the 80 of Lyconious. There won't be a second go at this. You don't have time to engage, retreat, reinforce, and then try and re-engage. There's only going to be one more fight here.
T-70 V King Tiger. He's still on recon mode. Yeah, but doing a lot of damage there with the Vet 2. This is ridiculous. Look at that damage, but main gun destroyed on the first shot.
T-70 could be stuck in recon mode for a bit longer from the looks of things, machine. Probably for the rest of this game. Does look like it will be an all-in for Lyconious. Here's the mark target up available again. He's coming down the flag, looking for the King Tiger, but the King Tiger's in a good position. Here comes the Rocket.
One shot away from dying, going for the ram. He actually gets the stun, but no damage engine. He ran with a weak tank, so that was a clever play. Mark targets coming through as well here. Rocket trying to reface. Panzer IV in the back doing a bit of safety. This is actually a pretty bad engagement for Lyconious.
He hasn't found any penetration here onto this KT. The SU-76s are branching on the front army. He actually switches it up, goes for the barrage onto the Rocket, trying to force that one off. The T-34 is still alive. The King Tiger has been forced off, maybe looking for a P2 here, a Panzer IV here instead, but down to 30 VPs is Lyconious. He hasn't found a cap behind this.
Vet 3 on the Panzer IV, and both of these vehicles are still low. The other 76 off to the side. The T-70 low. His tanks just weren't at full health.
Just too hard for him to take the engagement from the looks of things here, machine. The tanks are backing away now, but there's one squad of NGs on the field. It's going to be easy for Apathyprime to try and close this one out. That's a squad going to be wiped here for Lyconious as well. He doesn't have a big float of manpower. He's in trouble.
That was a penal squad going down, and there isn't much left here for Lyconious. Panzer IV can be pretty aggressive, especially with a combat blitz. And that should be the GG, I think.
Certainly should close this one out, machine. Lyconious trying for an engagement that would have been hard even if had all his tanks been on full health. And that is the opposite of full health. NGs, you have a lot of work ahead of you, but it won't be in this game. You're going to have to retreat and repair.
I just don't understand why he wasn't using crew repair.
Yeah.
All of his tanks were low. He had one squad. And he just didn't use it. He had 300 munitions.
Yeah, it was a weird choice, machine. I don't know. That's what I thought was going to happen there for Lyconious. Just a mass crew repair on every single tank. And then try and look for this all-in, which is difficult. Because the SU-76s, they're just not going to get rear armor on the KT. And they have to try and penetrate from the front. So it was going to be a tough engagement either way.
Yeah, and even that engagement was... The ram was cool, but there was one 85 and there was one SU. And the SU decided to barrage the Rocket. I guess he was worried that the Rocket would have just forced away the SU. So it wasn't really a full commitment either. There was no guards for the buttons. The other SU, while it was low, it still could have tried to fire at max range. And yeah, I don't think it wasn't a smart engagement. He should have gone for the middle with infantry squads. Because even if he won the engagement, what was he going to do? He kills the King Tiger, kills the P4. He wasn't capping the VPs.
Yeah.
The infantry squads, they were in the base, I think, at the time. So I think Lyconious is definitely getting a little bit flustered here. He he certainly didn't play the best. I think Apathyprime definitely outplayed him. He made a few crucial mistakes, you know, those late retreats, losing the Volks, losing, I think, the first squad. The demo was unfortunate, but perhaps he should have been sweeping a bit more aggressively given how likely there are to be demos on the VPs in the middle. But that was a really nice game, actually. I think it was quite refreshing as well, because after seeing Axis get wrecked so hard, Apathyprime really brought it back.
He did, yeah. Really nicely played game. Getting that KT out was the saving grace. And played that engagement in the middle really well as well. Just a really good use of the 105 howitzers. That is how you use artillery, if you were wondering. It's the ideal way to use it. Every time was just really effective placement that forced a lot of squads out of position, even found damage onto those squads. Yeah, loved it.
And the mass retreats, because then you get out of position and it's so much easier to defend than it is to attack, especially when you have things like the button. The button is a very defensive ability because the range on it, if you get out of the range, it goes away. So for Soviets in particular, for guards in particular, you know, if you lose the defensive advantage, then it's much harder to play around that. You know, SUs in particular as well. So yeah, well played. I think also Apathy kind of countered Lyconious by not going for that Osfin. Yeah, that could have been a very different game if he did. But that'll wrap us up for now. Very nice one. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the cast. If you did, and if you do enjoy our casting, then do consider backing on Patreon, since we are making videos full-time. It is my full-time job, so any support there is greatly appreciated.
Certainly is. Thank you for joining us.
See ya.